All right. So the next question to you, Mr. President, is during your last town hall meeting, you announced September 30th and October 1st as a twin holiday to be celebrated by Ambazonians at home and abroad. Can you please shed some light on this great event?
Yes, we are the interim government in agreement with our people, the people of Southern Cameroon, have realized that whatever we don't commemorate will be forgotten, will easily be forgotten. We have to commemorate especially the bad things that have happened to us and give ourselves a teachable, a learning, a teachable moment where we are able to teach our children. So that if by any means this thing goes beyond our lifetime, they should know what happened. And the days we commemorate will remain as a monument, as a memorial in our consciousness. We want to create that consciousness. Yeah, I went to Berlin and I saw that the Holocaust has a monument. In Washington, D.C., the Holocaust has a monument. I don't know which Western capital does not have either a museum or a monument raised for such atrocities. We have to raise our own monuments to tell our stories. And that is why we want to celebrate the 30th of September going forward from this year, because that is the day our demise was sealed. That is the day. The Southern Cameroons voted on the 11th of February 1961 to join La Republique as the only option that was given to them by the United Nations. On the 21st of April, the resolution was submitted to the United Nations and the resolution 1608 was voted, prescribing the directives, the processes that needed to be put in place for the union to be consummated between the two entities, the two countries. And that the trusteeship agreement between the United Nations and the trust administrator Britain would expire on the 1st of October 1961. That would be the day of our freedom. That would be the day the British authority, the Governor General, will leave with his administration and out of the territory, and so that we enjoy our freedom. But on the 30th of September, the eve of our daybreak, the British authorities invite Ahijo from Yaoundé. He flew to the Tico airport on the 30th of September. The premier of the Southern Cameroon, Foncha, with his cabinet, come down to Tico airport. And then the Union Jack that represented the British authority over the Southern Cameroon was folded together. And instead of the Governor General to give that symbol, that scepter of authority to the Premier, John Gu Foncha, he handed it over to Ahijo. And then Ahijo took it to Yaoundé. What does that mean? While we were contemplating that we're coming into a union of two equals, in reality, what was settled between Paris and London was a continuation of colonization, this time by the French Cameroon over us. The colonial master handed over to another colonial master instead of giving us back our freedom into our hands. That is where the story started. So when the United Nations write in their archives that we were fully decolonized, when you go there, you want to talk about it, say, you want to go, we try to have some inroads into the fourth committee of the General Assembly where concerning decolonization. They say, no, you guys have been decolonized. That's what we have in our records. So we need to commemorate this day to tell this truth to our children, tell it to the world. Remind the United Nations, make this a United Nations Southern Cameroon's Memorial Day. And that is the day I'm calling on all Amazonians, especially at home, from all the 13 counties and 62 local government areas. Make sure that we have United Nations flags all over the place, all over. We need to have United Nations flags all over. You can forget about, on the 30th, you can forget about the Amazonian flag because that day is a UN Memorial Day, UN Southern Cameroon Memorial Day. And we will notify them beforehand. In fact, we are preparing our notification now to notify the United Nations that we are celebrating this Memorial Day. And that day, our speech and our everything will be all targeted towards them. And we will give them copies of everything. We want the world to know the truth that they have covered. Because this error started with the United Nations. They cannot pretend to be observers and make funny reports saying that the people of English speaking want to be a country. They also want to be their own country. Are you kidding me? Coming from the United Nations, you created this. So this is what happened. We were and we are a people with a government with self-governing, having all the institutions of state, and you handed it over to a sister category B trust territory instead of giving us the freedom as was mandated by the trusteeship agreement. So we have to celebrate that on the 30th, and I'm calling on all. This is about all Amazonians. On the 1st of October, the next day, it will be led by our Amazonian Restoration Forces. That is where the flag of our resistance, of our resistance movement, of our Southern Cameroon state will be floating all over the place, led by our able Amazonian Restoration Forces. They will lead the march past everywhere, all across Amazonia. But on the 30th, it is about the population. Let us, the civil society, let the church, let everyone come out to remind the United Nations about what happened. If they pretend to say they don't know what the British did, they can know it from us every year as we celebrate it. So I'm asking all the counties and LGA leaders and all our civil society on the ground, help us to make this day a memorial indeed for the United Nations to consider. I don't expect any much to come from their meeting that is soon to begin in September, this September. You know what? Because the United Nations is a club. It's a club. If you don't belong to a club, no one in the club can advocate for you unless you find somebody who is stubborn enough to come out of the box to advocate for you. So the best place to be heard is from outside. We have to say it until the unwilling hearts will begin to think. The unwilling ears will begin to hear because this is the truth. That if we stay quiet and hoping that some miracle will jump into their menu and then they will just start thinking about us and do the right thing. No, they have told themselves a lie and believed it that they decolonize us. That is the we have to come out and say, tell the world that is not the case, and do so emphatically. I pray that we'll see a tsunami on the ground. Now, all the civil society, all the churches on that, I don't know whether it will be a Sunday or it will be a Monday. Everyone come out on the street with UN flags and peace plans. Let us tell the world what the UN did to us, that because they can fix it. Why not?
Thank you, Mr. President.